Yes, there are some of you who have mentally escaped the real world by constructing this apparency of reality, the mental holodeck of the planet Liptardistan. There you can act out the most insane fantasies, pretend that free shit just magically appears like the replicators do on Star Trek, envision yourselves to be a horse or a goat or a multi-gender, non-binary what the fuck, and when reality creeps in, you don your pink pussy hat and crawl into a safe space under the stairs in mommy's basement. We understand. We have a cure for that.
Welcome back to Covidiocracy Now!
Special edition! Covidiocracy, episode number 17. We are now age of consent.
Barely legal.
You can have sex with this podcast as long as it gives you permission.
You can have sex with this podcast.
Woo!
I fucking love that.
About time.
How long have you been, man?
Ups and downs, all sorts of boring shit, exciting shit, mostly
Seesaw?
working very hard.
Hardly working.
No.
So what are we doing here today?
We're
I got some shit to get off my chest.
in special times, so we're doing a special episode.
And we are legally allowed to do this.
Yes.
Yeah, we are under special law as podcasters.
Yep, you get a special permission to travel in this day and age where you're not allowed to travel unless you're doing something essential.
I put my microphone where my dick is. I carry it around, and people go, "Oh, why do you have two dicks the same exact size?" And I'm just like, sorry.
So yeah, you can get pulled over. They're not allowed to pull you over.
I call it mic privilege.
Oh, by the way, it is March 31st, 2020. In case you're watching this later, some date tomorrow is the first day that millions of people will not pay their rent.
And coincidentally, it's April Fool's.
But they have to stay at home because we're in the middle of a pandemic.
I would charge my tenants extra if they had to stay home all the time, because that's more wear on the house.
Yeah, it is. For real. It's not a good time to be a landlord.
How do they get their money? They get it, so Trump gives it to the tenant gives it to the landlord?
That's the idea, I think, yeah. Yeah, unless your landlord is like Goldman Sachs somehow, then they already
You're
have your
putting
money.
a lot of people in the position to either pay rent or buy food.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's I personally know people that are freaking the fuck out because they work at restaurants and got laid off because at this moment, as most people should know, at least in Michigan here, you cannot go to a restaurant, can't go to a bar, so that's a lot of jobs lost. A lot of places are cutting back their workforce because nobody's showing up.
Yeah.
Tough times, interesting times, and I think Chris and I are very, very skeptical that this is just kind of another fear-mongering type of deal, kind of like 9/11, to get everybody to fall in line and do the lock step.
I think it's the totalitarian tiptoe. I think it's the incremental heating of the pot, and we are the frogs. We're not going to jump out because they just spring a little bit on us every day, and it's kind of weird. It's affecting everybody. It's turning everybody into Monk, and Monk
From the show Monk.
Yeah, and I don't like that guy. I don't like people like that. I don't like people that wash their hands obsessively. You don't need to. I mean,
I've always been a germaphobe.
well,
a little bit.
Think about this.
Mostly for food.
Everybody in India is wiping their ass with their fucking hand. And there's a billion of them. It's not fucking up their numbers at all. So,
Yeah.
that's
another story. India went into lockdown just the other day.
oh, I got a little bit of footage from that.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Which one?
This is what.
This is police in India closing down mosques.
I'd rather have this happen to me than get a $500 ticket.
This might be a little loud at first. They just wait for him to come out. Come on. No, I don't want to. I don't want to. Can I get my shoes?
I'm not going. even grab their shoes. I don't think.
No, they just ran. At least they didn't hit the kids.
So yeah, that's the world we're living in now. Do what you're told. Get the fuck home. So how do you feel about that?
I don't feel good. The last time I was told to go home and stay home, I was on house arrest and I was 14, and I did legitimate shit to deserve it, you know. And now I don't deserve it. I think all these lockdowns are fucking unconstitutional and illegal.
Absolutely unconstitutional. It's not even like hard to find that out, but people are ready and willing to give up all their rights. They're just ready to bend over. The government says, "Hey, bow down," and everyone's like, "Oh, how low? How low?" Because everyone's scared. It's that fear thing, like that problem reaction solution type of deal, and fear seems to be just a great motivator for people to do what they're told.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. The virus isn't terrifying me. The control that it's had over all the people as a collective scares me. That somebody at the head, I think I was thinking about this earlier. What if there was a whole bunch of earthquakes everywhere? Are we going to start taking orders from all the earthquake guys?
Yeah, you're head of earthquake scientists
Yeah,
Whatever.
I think
association.
what should happen, and I would feel great. I would feel very, very patriotic if I wasn't told to. Like, if you just told me, hey, this is real. If they say, hey, we can't, if they even brought it up, like, we can't tell you to stay home because it's unconstitutional.
Right.
And I don't think Americans will follow that. But you'd be doing your country a service if you did. Go out if you need to. Go out if you need to. Don't shame people that go out, but just realize that we're going through a thing. And I think it should be voluntary. I think this is the scariest time.
Yeah, instead it's the entire, completely opposite of what you want.
You know, I went through 9/11 when I was roughly 20 years old, and I really wasn't that awake yet. And now that I'm 38, I've got a whole nother life of adulthood stacked on top of that one. And I'm thinking this one through, and I'm looking back at 9/11, and I'm realizing things have never been the same since then, and they will not be the same from now on.
For sure. And we're really, I think we're only in the beginning stages of this whole ordeal. I mean, it's as far as freedoms go, they've taken a lot already, but it could get to the point where you're not allowed to go down the street until you stop in at the checkpoint in a matter of weeks from now. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And it's not anything they take away. They're not going to give them back. Just like 9/11, they might give back a few of your rights in increments, but they'll take 3 steps forward and give you 1 step back type of deal.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to take some breaks and we're going to put out small segments, little chapters of today's podcast, just so we can do a little bit more, whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain shit to you.
Before we drop off, since I already mentioned like our rights can diminish, let me go
let's
down
run
just
with
a
that.
quick list that I thought up in like 5 seconds here. The First Amendment says you have the right to free assembly. We don't anymore. You can literally be charged and taken to jail for having a party, having a protest,
Wedding,
wedding,
funeral.
yep, yes, sacrament shit. At the moment, they have, in the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer, our governor, has granted, this is the word they used, granted the churches the ability to congregate still, but she has no power to
Really?
grant that power. Yeah, people can still go to church in
So
Michigan.
you guys can breathe if you guys want to.
Yeah.
And religion is some people's breath.
I mean, people came to this country because they wanted to practice their religion, and they freaking rode on in a shit-covered Mayflower boat where half of them died or whatever, just to get here to do that. So now we're worried that like 1 out of 1,000 people are gonna die, so we're just gonna give up all our rights. Anyways, the Second Amendment too, in some states, they call the non-essential, like the gun shops are non-essential. You can go get an abortion, but you can't get a gun. Which is totally fucked up in this time when people should be buying a ton of guns, and a lot of people are, because society's potentially falling apart.
Think about this, to keep your spot right there. If you deny abortions right now, just so you have the medical facilities to house COVID-19 patients, you're saving 2 lives at once.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Oh, this is beautiful. But it's just another thing to stack onto a conservative argument, if you were to be a conservative, which I am not. I tend to hate both sides. But if you were, I err on the side of life, though, because probably I lean toward libertarian, and I would give rights to anything with a heartbeat, except an animal that I need to eat. But a human's not an animal. So it's another argument. It's like, why do you care? Why do you care about life now? Last week was the Women's March, and you guys were celebrating abortions, literal late-term abortions, saying I wouldn't have got my college degree if I didn't kill this baby.
Okay, you got me on another tangent already. So that's the same hypocrisy of this guy, Bill Gates, if you ever heard of him. He's all about supposedly saving everybody from disease and vaccinations all over the place to save everybody from pandemics so we can live. But at the same time, he is all about there being less people and there's too many people in the world. So you literally trust in this guy to save your life who preaches nothing but saying there's too many people.
Hi, I'm Bill Gates, and I'm obsessed with circumcising black men in Africa.
Anyway, just a small tangent. All right, so Second Amendment's gone in some places. What's new? Fourth Amendment, just today I was watching the local news, and they were talking about this new app you can get on your phone. It's super cool. They're doing it in the UK right now. It's going to save, however many lives. Just check in, tell this app if you have a fever. It's definitely telling the controllers of the app where you're located. That's the whole point of it, is to see where everybody is. So you check in with your health, and it just tracks you all over the place. And it's all the rage. And they can't wait to do it to millions and millions of people.
Of course, I accept the terms of service.
And it's on the local news, and they're just talking about it like it's the coolest, hottest thing already. It's like yesterday, people were talking about this, or on the No Agenda show.
Join the likes of Tom Hanks and Idris Elba.
And I was like, there's no way everyone's gonna sign up to be tracked, and they have all their health monitored over this bullshit. But the way the news portrayed it, the local news was making it look like people would. And they might, because people are fucking morons sometimes.
That brings me to this famous meme that's right here. The "Please Tread on Me" flag. It's probably hard to see, you can't see it, but it's the traditional flag with a snake tied to a stake, a ball gag in its mouth, a concerning look rounding its eyes, with a slogan that says, "Oh, please tread on me," which people are saying, lock everybody up in their homes. Everybody deserves to be on house arrest. The same thing that fucking pedophiles get when they get out of prison. That's what you get. Until we find out the numbers. And by the way, the numbers have been wrong every step of the way. Every day they tell us that, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it was a lot less. We went from 2.5 million to 250,000 to, I guarantee it will be less.
I think so too. Well, potentially they say right now the models say 100,000 to 250,000.
Who's making the models?
People with fake numbers.
People, and then people have agendas.
Oh, for sure. Okay, and that's probably going to be on our next, the next version of episode 17, or maybe we'll just go right up to 18, talking more about the numbers and these testing and how it's kind of fucked up. So another First Amendment thing that has been kind of stomped on, treaded on is Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all banning more videos than ever. They even put out a statement, I think it was YouTube, saying, yeah, don't expect your videos to be censored more and more. Now that people aren't at work censoring the videos themselves, the algorithms are going to take over. When actually, the people that work from home anyway, the people that are looking at these videos, they get flagged, go look at the video, and they're sitting at home anyway. These people that work for YouTube/Google, they don't have to go into the office to watch YouTube videos. It's total bullshit. So that's, more First Amendment being trampled on. A right to travel, I don't even know where that is in the Bill of Rights, but it's just considered a right of Americans to be able to travel wherever they want.
From state to state.
From state to state in the U.S. And I should know. It's probably in the Constitution somewhere. Sorry, forgive me for my ignorance on that part, but it is a right of Americans to be able to travel. And I include that in international travel, at least to get out. So, and then another thing too, just stealing everyone's money. That's not part of the Bill of Rights either, but the pursuit of happiness involves having money, and when they spend trillions and trillions of dollars and give it to bigwig companies and these banks that know they're not doing the right thing, that's really stealing your money in the long run.
The stimulus is just a loan anyway, right?
It's a forgivable loan, so it's just free money.
So it's up in the air then?
It's not a loan.
It's not a loan.
Well, depends. Some of it might be a loan, but we're at 0% interest rates for those kind of loans, so it's a loan with 0% interest. And at least the loan that they're giving, $500 billion to companies, is a forgivable loan, where as long as they keep their employees paid, they're supposed to pay them with this money, then they don't have to pay it back. But there's a lot of other money involved, including sending money to back into the stock market at some point here for people to get rich off of. That's pretty much it that I thought of in 5 seconds. It's also like they're taking away our general right of healthcare. They're taking it away from the doctors. Like our governor here in Michigan said, if you treat someone with this the quinine or artificial quinine stuff,
Chloroquine,
yeah, that she'll revoke your license to do medicine, even though it's been shown to be very effective.
is she a doctor?
No, but then the next day the FDA approved it and she had to swallow her words. But just stuff like that where they're deciding who gets ventilators, who can get masks. There's no free market. The government's just taking full control over the whole medical system right now. There's not a lot of free market in the medical system. Not that there was before, but it's more than ever.
I'm so torn because
Tyrannical.
Not a big fan of corporations. I believe that it'd be way cooler. I mean, you can have 2 car washes. One that pays their employees $10 an hour, and the other one that pays their employees $15. I mean, and then the guy at the top makes 50 less grand a year because of it. So instead of making $450,000, he's making $400,000.
Uh-huh.
But his employees are loyal as fuck, and his turnover rate is low, and his customers come back because they see the same happy faces every day.
Yeah, in an ideal world, that would be how it would work, I would think. You'd have happier employees, better business in general, which should get you more return.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you might have had more to that thought. I'm not a big fan of big corporations at all. They're mostly, in my opinion, subsidized so heavily by the government, either with regulations so they can, I feel like I'm going into something deeper here.
No, it's fine. Let's stay on track. I really believe this whole thing is there's a face behind it, and it's a face that can help us. And
Norm Macdonald?
no, It seems to be like an excess of things going on right now. So the task force is led by primarily Democratic people. And this, I mean, like party leaning wise. Deborah Birx is.
She's an Obama holdover.
She's an Obama holdover. I watched plenty of her speeches. She praises Hillary Clinton every chance she gets.
I would say globalist New World Order types more than Democrat types, but one and the same in a way.
It's like if you were to say me, choose who do you choose, men or women? I'm like, I'm not gonna choose between men or women. It's like I choose people, and she'd be like, I choose women. Women are the best. Women, fuck men, women. You know, I don't subscribe to that. I don't subscribe that men think that they're the most powerful of the beings. I mean, physically, yes, but still, you're only half of a coin. You can't exist without the other. Like, there's...
Yeah.
But either way, so you have liberals, left-leaning people.
And Fauci, is that
Fauci?
Fauci.
Yep. So Fauci and Deborah Birx, and then he is another Democratic person.
The head of the NIH, is that what it's called? National Institute of Health.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then, so they tend to be they tend to lean heavy globalist.
Yes,
as
I
do
agree.
most liberals.
But
Now Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump is a nationalist.
He has
for
been.
the most part.
Yeah.
You know, he wants to close down the borders to get to
Just
find
saying
out-
America first is like
It's
it's like treason against globalist thought.
It's a nationalist statement too. So we have globalization and the liberals leading the fight against the coronavirus, especially on the task force. And then you have Fauci involved with the WHO.
I would imagine he's just taken any order from the WHO. That just seems to be how it works for a lot of these leaders of countries. And it gives them, a little bit of direction from blame. If anything goes wrong, I was just doing what the WHO said, type of deal. But I don't know. I mean, it's a big club.
There's a lot of buck passing. And then, so you would say that the Democratic Party is leaning to socialist Democrat, which a lot of people say is a slide into communism. And a lot of people say that the WHO is in bed with the Communist Party of China. So
that I haven't researched enough myself, but yeah.
I'm not that smart, so these are just echoes on the dark web that
Sure.
I'm just
I've heard that too.
parroting.
Yeah.
But of course, that's what we all do, is parrot stuff that we read and see.
Yeah.
I'm not flying to Wuhan. I don't have firsthand knowledge. And then you also have,
Nice.
so the medical field, which probably leans.
They lean in the medical field. Like these poor anyone that goes into medical school. This is my opinion. Is fucking brainwashed hardcore. Not only do you have to stay up hours and hours and hours, you have to do what you're told.
Which is a form
You're
MK
fucking
Ultra mind programming.
Yeah, and you just say what they tell you to say. You believe what they tell you to believe, and don't worry about nutrition. Don't worry about like boosting your immune system shit. Just peddle these drugs because you're a doctor now. You're in the club. You're part of the priesthood.
So
yeah, that's how I feel about doctors.
while leaning left.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean,
So-
they're all for government control.
And then we have the medical field, and then we have the tech. Tech is silencing, censoring. AI is involved in computing the numbers of the deaths. So, in a way, my conspiracy mind says this is AI fucking with us. Like, this would be a perfect AI movie if AI was just fucking up. So when you go into the hospital, all right. So when I go into an oil change, they wheel up a computer next to my car. Like, okay, what's your name? Boop, boop, boop. I let it scan your door. All right, you've been here before. Now let me show you on the computer here what's going on with it. What's wrong? They do the same thing. The point of sale. They call it point of sale. They bring the point of sale right up to you. They do the same thing with when you're sick. They wheel up a computer right now. Okay, this patient's best friend.
Well, and it's all connected now.
Yeah. So we are.
So Skynet is
It's
freaking everybody out and collapsing
operational.
it all.
So
Get ready to launch.
Grandpa dies from the flu, and he's already 85 and got heart disease, and he's been smoking a pack of bacon a day. So he's already down for the
Sounds
flu.
good.
AI just switches it to the corona, and then all of a sudden everybody's dying of coronavirus. I mean, I know it's not plausible, but it's a fun idea to think
Dude,
about.
I can go deep. I can go deep into thinking that, but I personally think
But
that
what is AI? Just
I personally think it's these certain globalist groups that all have the same plan that are making a lot of this AI, and that's the real Skynet. They want to bring in Skynet, but I don't think it's there yet. That's what I think. I think it's still humans behind it all, but it could totally. I can see what you're saying. I mean, they're driven by dark forces themselves, so that's not so much human. We got deep with that one.
yeah, I think it's fucking with me.
Oh yeah, it's fucking with a lot of people. The psychological aspect of this all is fascinating.
No, I haven't had moments of clarity. I mean, not a moment of clarity. I have clear moments constantly, but I haven't had.
Isn't that just being high? Sometimes.
I haven't
I
had.
think it's so clear right now.
I haven't had. There's been an abundance to think about. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, there's so much to think about. That's
There's-
why I'm
there's-
talking faster with all
There's
these
theories
notes.
to ponder over. There's conspiracies to pontificate.
It can make you manic in a way too. Like that's. I gotta chill sometimes. I'll like.
Well, what if this? I haven't even heard anybody say that this is a huge misdirection yet.
Just to hide a bunch of other shit they're doing all right
Yeah,
now.
Of course.
It'd be an easy. I mean, it is. If I was up to no good, which I think the no good that they're up to is just stealing everything. Like right now with all the shit that's going on with banks behind closed doors, because the economy is falling apart, and that's when people get everything stolen from them. We're gonna wake up in 2 months and be like, "Holy shit, we don't have anything. Where did it go?"
Oh, Mr. Weinstein panicked.
All right. Well,
Yep. We'll take a break and we'll come back in with another subject.
that's all, folks.
Thank you. Tune in. Like, subscribe, and shove it up your ass.